So a recent survey suggests that Back to the Future is one of the most demanded rebootable franchises out there. Now look, most of you will know, if you've ever heard me talk about my favorite movie of all time, it's Back to the Future, the first one. That's my favorite film of all time, bar none. Like, I love that movie. I watch it a few times a year. It truly has something for everybody, right? Science fiction, love, comedy, everything's in there. And to me, it's a movie that's untouchable. Now, I say this as a person who's coming at it from a place of passion, but at the same time, I am going to play devil's advocate here and kind of talk about the whole Back to the Future rebootability, right? So first let me say, if you reboot Back to the Future, fine. You're not going to ruin what's come before because I have my perfect trilogy, right? So I'm not one of those people that's like, you rebooted something, you ruined my childhood, because that's not true, because I still have what was great, right? And realistically, if it's a full-on reboot, I could accept it, but knowing them, they're probably going to make a bunch of dumb decisions, like Doc Brown is going to be played by The Rock, Kevin Hart's going to play Biff, who else is popular that's terrible in Hollywood like Kevin Hart? I don't know, but you see what I'm getting at, right? Like, that's their mentality, you know, and they're going to be like, oh, Chris Hemsworth can be Marty McFly, everyday person, right? Because that makes sense, right? And then, of course, they have to go into modern day, so they have to toss in a bunch of stuff in there to just be like, look, we're catering to everybody. And that's kind of where modern day reboots, I think, fail many franchises. It's they're not following what the people loved about the original, but they're changing too much and trying to change a lot of the cores of what people liked. Like Ghostbusters, for example. Even though I ended up enjoying that movie to a degree, I see what the problems were, right? So Back to the Future as a reboot can work, but the problem is that people today, like my age, love Back to the Future because it has this nostalgia of the 80s, but it also has a nostalgia of the 50s. And if you're sitting here right now in 2018, the 80s to 2018, we're further along in the future than we were in the past when they jumped to the 50s. So that's kind of hard to imagine, right? Like, you're thinking about it, you're going, oh damn, so technically that movie takes place like 70 years ago, right? So you have to capture that same type of spirit. And what would the point be if it's a modern day reboot? So let's say it comes in like 2022, right? So they're traveling like what, 20, 30 years back? So they're going to travel to the insane year of 1999. It doesn't have the same feel to it, right? It just doesn't. And it kind of feels cheap, like you're cashing on like 90s nostalgia rage. But Back to the Future wasn't doing that back in the day. They just set out to make a great movie, and it happens that nostalgia captured a whole bunch of generations because of the perfect timing. That's why a lot of people love the 80s movies so much, is because they were perfect place at the perfect time, and we're the generation that grew up with them, so they're very nostalgic to us, right? I can't remember much nostalgia about the early 2000s, honestly. Like UFO pants? Who's nostalgic about those, right? Limp Bizkit? Nope. Like, so you see what I'm saying here? I think Back to the Future fundamentally, as a reboot, doesn't work unless you go back to the same type of setting and story, which that's kind of the problem, because then you're retreading the same thing. Then you're a pointless reboot that's not going to do it better. And as much as Hollywood wants to do it, this is one franchise where I think you shouldn't. Now, if they were to make a direct sequel, I might be willing to give it a shot, but then you run into the issue of somehow you're going to mess it up and be like, oh, we're going to loop back to Back to the Future 1. They're going to recast some of these people and use some weird augmented CG, and we're going to make sure that the events of the original movie happen because of this new character, great Junior Marty McFly from the year 2050. And then we're going to go, oh, God damn it. And then it does in turn ruin what came before. So what I'm telling you is don't do it.